Okay, welcome to the Forbidden History series. Ask Dezert-Owl on the Forbidden History series. This is a live call-in program. We encourage questions, live callers, and in the chat. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm NinjaCat, and welcome. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of recorded history, who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are all man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is a grand deception that is used to control all of mankind and all instituted through the four main religions of the world in particular, and used as their grand cover. Their cybercode has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. Desert can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical burning up of the phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control, an ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, print media, and religion, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it based on the ancient communication and symbol. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the very beginning of recorded history. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it because they have engineered all of it, while they are cleverly leaving us in the dark. Hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it all comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemical aerosol spraying of our sky, to fluoride in the water, to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all at birth by the clever means of deception, because we most all are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, which is a Wall Street security. But they are all through with us now, as it is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. It says we are a virus upon the earth. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl, who I would love to welcome to the program. Welcome, Desert.
Thank you, Ninja. And want to welcome Yurs. I see Yurs Young has come back on here, and hadn't seen Yurs in a while. And hopefully we'll have a few more friends stopping by this evening. But in the meantime, everything's being recorded. So, and I just want everyone to know that tomorrow, a quick announcement that will be on the Cosmic Essence. So make sure that you're subscribed there so you don't miss the program. It'll be the same time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the East Coast in the U.S. Okay, so just calculate for anywhere else in the world that you may be. So welcome to Ask Dezert-Owl on the Forbidden History series. Hope everybody's doing well out there, but I think people are beginning to realize that we're on the threshold of total annihilation on our planet, that the games that are about to be played on us by the people who follow the Babylonian Talmud, who just can't wait to think about cutting our heads off, as per the Nagahide laws. And apparently, I just got wind today, they said that anybody that talks about Jews are going to be pegged for anti-Semitism and have their head cut off. Well, considering that they're not Semites, I guess that's a rather interesting ploy. But they've already said that they hate our guts and they're going to cut our heads off anyway. So what's the big deal when you think about it, right? These people that run the banks, run the movies, run the news media, run the politicians, run the internet, Bill Gates being a Jew himself, and his father running Planned Parenthood. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think that they are uh, we're not supposed to talk about that they control the whole kit and caboodle on behalf of the Vatican, the Rothschild banking family, the protectors and defenders of the Vatican Trust, and they want to come and well, they've been poisoning us for how long now, you know, and waiting for this time. They initiated the Bolshevik Revolution. Um, they you know, participated. They funded Chase Manhattan Bank, funded Hitler. Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf. You know, it's the same players as the bankers, the Jewish bankers, proudly declared that they fund both sides of every war. And the Freemasons said that they wage all revolutions. So the revolution you saw in Washington was a Masonic, you know, orchestration for their papa, you know, and their mama, the mother sons of darkness. So so there's nothing to lose, really. It's a matter of just being able to state the truth. I don't hate anybody. You know, we're told to love our enemies, so I don't hate these people, but they hate us. They've announced it. They've advertised it, and so we're just gonna have to learn how to make lemonade out of lemons, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can do. And Marve says, don't forget about the war graves, the war memorials, I think you mean. Sure, they memorialize war. They build statues to memorialize war. You don't ever see them building statues to memorialize peace, right? I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head. So we're in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. The only good thing is that we have been made an offer by the one who made all things, by the great Yahweh, the great Father of light, the great Father of all life in this universe, on this planet, wherever life may be out there as well. And because with the number of stars that are out there in solar systems, it's very likely there is life out there, but we can't go there. They can't come here because of all the harsh environment of space and the radiation that comes from the solar orb that is there. So that was made clear by Werner von Braun on his deathbed, head of NASA, former SS Nazi stormtrooper who made the V1, V2 rockets and bombed Britain with about 200 of them, I think, something like that. So, but anyway, I don't want to talk about, you know, the negativity of what these people have been doing to stay control. I should have added they control the music too. Don't you just love it? You know, all that rap crap and everything else that they've spoon fed us, you know, they're illusions, the grand illusion, you know, nothing is real. And but there is something that is real. There is one reality. And the one reality is that we did not make ourselves. We were made by a greater power, some force that is greater than we are. We came into this world and said, what's going on? Who am I? Why am I here? And who are you? All of you out there, you know, and then we're being spoon fed by a culture, a mix of cultures actually, of things that are not true, not correct, they're incomplete, it's all misleading. Education means something that is removed. Ed, as an editor removes something. He says, okay, Bob, you can print the article, but you got to take that out, you got to take that out. That's what an editor does. Ed is the opposite of add. Add means to, as it sounds, add more, but ed means to remove. So they've removed from us the knowledge of who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are, but they gave us a false narrative, a type that sounds pretty good, looks pretty good, but yet then when we pierce the veil, we find out that the people that are doing it are lying to us, half truths, part truth, part lies, and a lot of corruption. And so, Ninja, how we doing? We're getting buffering, a little buffering on my end over here. Give me an audio check on the chat if you could, please. And you know what? I've got to
Yeah,
turn my heater
it's
up. Ninja, tell people how they can call in. Okay, I'll be right back. I got to turn my heater up.
okay. Guys, just hang with us. The buffering will stop soon. It's gone green again on my end. There's a bit of a delay to allow for it to pick itself up again. Um, while I've been put on the spot, thank you, Desert. This is a live call-in program. You're welcome to call in with any questions. Yeah, Desert wants to answer your questions and he wants to help. So, and I will put the
Absolutely.
phone number and Skype contact in the chat. Thank you, Desert. I
Okay,
hear
thank
you're
you.
back. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so, the Skype also call you NinjaCat.
Yeah.
If you're outside the U.S., yeah, you can call on Skype. So, happy to hear from you, or if you just have a comment, quick comment, that or an announcement. You know, like if you see something going on out there, we know that there's a lot going on, and we need to be abreast at it, because even though these people are in a fictional world, the damage that they do is real. The hurt that they put on other people. Um, okay, so Marve, what are you saying? It costs millions to keep clean throughout the year, right? And I think some messages get blocked as well. Okay, I don't know what you're referring to there, so I'll just. But if anybody does want to post, rather than calling, if they want to post a comment or a question, then they can put my name in all capital letters, Desert, Dezert, and then make your, your comment or your question in upper lower case, so I can see Desert. It'll stand out that way, and I'll know that you're trying to communicate with me. If it goes up because I'm on a roll or doing reading or something, then just recopy it, post it back in again, okay? And that way you'll be able to get your question answered, because I don't mean to ignore anyone out there. And Josh, good to have you out there in Knoxville. And I gave you an answer to what was that, about Seedline on last night's program. So I sent you an email telling you to check it out at the 36-minute mark. But I realized I didn't talk enough about it, and there was so much more to say, so I did that last night. And used to hitchhike through Knoxville quite a bit back in the early 1970s, mid 1970s, when I was going out west and up back to New Jersey, back and forth. Knoxville was one of my stopping points. I got a ride on a school bus by a bunch of hippies hauling antiques out there in Bean Station. I bet you may know where Bean Station is, on the bloody 11W. But that was last century, a long time ago. Those were the days. We really thought we were free. Everything seemed good, flower power and peace symbols, and even the cops smoked pot, so it wasn't so bad. They they left us alone. And now today, we're in the full-blown fascist state. They always put the fasci on both sides of the speaker in the house, the speaker's house, and the podium right there. The fasci with the battle axe and the black ebony rods wrapped with leather straps, right there, telling us that they're fascists, and yet nobody gets it. But yet Confucius, a long time ago, said that signs and symbols rule the world, not words, not law, signs and symbols. So if you can't see what's right in front of you, then the things that they're telling you are a bunch of lies anyway. So the symbols are what's really what you need to pay attention to. And because they're shouting with their symbolism, and they can see, they know, they're nodding at each other. And but we don't get it, so we have to. And so we talk about symbolism here. I'm a symbologist. I've read several one encyclopedia and one dictionary on symbols, plus reading the scriptures. It's all about idiom and symbolism as well. And Josh says, I know an Arnold in Bean Station. Yeah, beautiful backwooded area. We went down to back roads, and lived in, spent some time in some cabins there before heading back up with the bus up to New Jersey. And so I've got some examples today on the on words, and then a little sample on translation before I do my read, because I'm trying to really get people to be able to see that what I'm conveying here about translation and about the Aishavors, which is the correct terminology for words. That this is an exact science. It's not like, where did you get that desert? You pulled it out of thin air. No, it's knowing the code and the symbols and the parent roots. The parent root starts with one letter, then 2-letter combinations, that's a parent root, 3-letter combinations, that's a parent root. And of course, with 3 letters, you can switch them around and get several combinations with 3 letters. With 2 letters, you can only get 2 combinations. You flip them once, and then you got both combinations. But being that a letter is a word all by itself, then therefore there's a compounded meaning once you begin to add the other letters in certain root forms. Clearly some words get blocked written in full, like okay. So anyway, I wanted to, if you want to scroll up, you can see the word rabbi. And I put that in there just because I had a little time before the program to do it ahead of time. And you see rabbi is rabboni. Rabboni is, in other words, rabbi is a corruption. There is no B. The B has replaced the V. So there's the code, the switch out. So it's rabboni. I actually could have had 2 V's in there, just like there's 2 B's. Just realize we have no original dictionaries. We have no original scriptures. And therefore, what we have to do is follow the trail back and find the most primitive roots, and then we build on those. So probably I should have put 2 V's in there, but nonetheless, you see the code. The AV is it starts with royal. You can see I put there the royal star of the 1. You just scroll back up at the top of the chat, and so the R is the prime letter for the word royal. So it's a word by itself. It is royal by itself. It's also a code for the PX, which means the place. And so the royal I is the place from that standpoint. And yeah, it's a Cairo. It's also a P and the X combined, which is called the Cairo or Cairo. And then so the AV then Rav. We see that in India they call him the Raja or the Raj, and it's the same word, but the J is another code. They corrupted it. It correctly is Rav, R-A-V, and the A-V is a star. Okay, A-V is a star, and so Rav means by itself royal star, but because we see in the word rabbi then a further extension. Well, then we correct it because it is the I clearly is for what we think of when we see for looking. We're looking with the eye, but it's a letter, one letter, and it's a corruption because it's the blind eye. It's the eye they use to remove the other letters and put in. It's the occultic eye with the dot at the top, the dot representing the moon. And so the I typically then is representing the A or hiding the A. And so AY at the end for the correct terminology for the I. And so it is the one eye, because in other scriptures, we hear the term Rabboni. Rabboni, I have rabbi there, but Rabboni, R-A-B-O-N-I. So I was using the more primitive form. And so Rabboni, there's the word one. And so it is the one eye. So it's the royal rabbi. So when people are going to Yahshuah and they're calling him rabbi or Ravone in the more primitive, Ravone, they're literally saying, um, my royal star of the one eye. What is the one eye? It is the light of the sun. That is the eye. The occult put it on the back of the dollar bill at the top of the pyramid as if they're mother sons of light, but they're not. They're mother sons of darkness. They pride themselves as also being all-seeing eyes because they got their little spy network of little sellouts that get their little paycheck and their little treat, and so they spy in our community. But the eye of the one eye represents the great Father of light, the Spirit, who is in all places at all times, always conscious, always, and observing always all things. It's beyond our comprehension how in the world he can do this, or how in the universe he can do this. But the good news is it's he loves us, and he's great, and therefore he wants to help us. He wants to save our lives because we've got a problem. Our problem is we've been put in this world, and now we've got to deal with it. Our spirit is eternal, and so we have to go somewhere before or figure it out before we leave this place, because if we don't leave clothed in the light, which is the prime objective, then we're not clothed, we're naked, and we're in the darkness, and so we don't go back to the light where we came from. So that's why talking about these things is so important, because we have when we identify with the truth and we start trying to wrap our mind around the story and what is going on, we have chosen to become part of an enlightenment, because that's what light does. We say, let there be light, because we want to be enlightened. And but yet when we look at Christianity, which has 600 different flavors right out the gate, that's evidence that there's a problem, because the scriptures tell us there's only one Yahweh, it says Lord, so one Lord, one Yahweh, one faith, that's victory of light, one victory of light, or one faith, and one Avavatezorath, or baptism, Avavatezoram. Okay, and there's your sound wave right there in Avavatezer, Vava, the Vav. In fact, baby would be Vave. You see, because it's the virgin life creation. It's a as if it's just the beginning of a sound wave that's going to grow. You see, and so once we bring back these original parts of the puzzle, all of a sudden we start getting pictures and seeing things in a more deep way. But we don't see the enlightenment out there. What we see is a bunch of parrots, who can say, Jesus loves me. Yes, I know, for the Bible tells me so. And then, they quote all these King James classic, verses, but yet they're never able to interpret the word, or to interpret the idiom, or to pick out the grand scheme that has been waged against us to switch out the words. When does the wake up actually occur? If we're supposed to be part of enlightenment, when does the light bulb? We always say, I grew up saying the light bulb went off, right? But the truth is, we want the light bulb not to go off. We want it to go on. They reverse that in that idiom, right? That's an idiom, and so seems to me we always said the light bulb went off, and actually we want the light bulb to go on. And so you're saying, is that the same as a shamun? What specifically? I'm sorry, I'm not getting the full
Desert.
import of your question there.
Have a look at what
yeah.
I wrote above. Is that the same as Ashamoon? Let there be light is correct for Amen. I think that's.
Oh, Amen. Well,
yeah.
Well, there's, I have my cards on that, because I write these things down as I see them. But I think, one aspect of that could be like this. Yalmun. And the reason that is being used, but there could be more. There's so much potential in there, because the word Amen, if you put the L in there, then you have priests. But what I have done I'm remembering now what I've done in some of the recent translations I'm working on. And I think I said in supplement of that, because that is an ambiguous term, and Paul said I would rather use words that everybody could comprehend than, to use speak in a tongue that nobody could comprehend. So it's more important. So, some people said it means so be it, or and so that is a terminology that could be used, and also let there be light, is another terminology. But Amen, Almon, you see, is a very similar form, and that means priest in the primitive Aramaic and also in Egyptian. Amun. In fact, remember the rod of Aaron blossomed with an almond flower, and so the almond then is implied for their priesthood as well. So there's just not enough information on the primitive nature of this word. I'd have to do some more research and go also grab my notes. I'm not really prepared for that at this time. And yes, thank you, yours as well. And so, and Josh, you said, what about, and by the way, Josh and everybody, put in desert in all capital letters when you have a question. That way I can see it real easy. Put my name, Dezert, all capital letters, then upper and lower on your question or comment. And so Josh, you're saying, what about Sophia from the esoteric books? Well, Sophia is basically a Greek terminology. We find it in the Greek, and there's the word soul. Of course, all these words are abbreviated. So Sophia would look like this. SH. Actually, it would be shul. It would be the primitive of Yahshuah, shul, and then Phayall, probably like that. Sophael. But they say Sophia means wisdom, and Zo means life. But but more specifically, it's not just wisdom; it's knowledge. Sophia means wisdom and knowledge, and there's the word shul. So it's a component of the word shul in Yahshuah. I spell it for everybody. You see, like that. But the truth is, the U is a corruption, and it's two O's. It's really like that. Yahshuah. You see, and there you see then the word school, where we go to get knowledge, but the C is a corruption. It's really like that, you see? And so these are the games that they've played on. In Germany, it's Schulen for school. You see, so these are all the variable mixes that occur within the words, but we are locked in because we don't know the code. We don't know the Indo-Germanic or the original forms or the parent root forms. And so we're locked into one meaning for one word and are unable to associate it with other words because they're all under a code, and they put us under the spell. And now the rest is all forbidden history. So that's why we're here talking about these things. Okay, so I'm going to, and by the way, just want to mention to any new listeners coming in again one more time, I got my note here. Tomorrow we're going to be on the Cosmic Essence channel, so make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed so you'll get the notice, okay? So what I want to do is, before I get into our part 3 purpose, which is to get back onto that the final hours of Yahshuah read I was doing on the first in this short series we're doing. This is part 3 today. Yesterday we did part 2. I just want to go back into the original Gospels by Mark Dumday, who did a great translation from the most primitive of each of the 4 Evangelion or Gospels, go spell, and of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. He went to the most primitive existent texts, which would typically be the Greek for most of them, maybe Aramaic on Matthew, and then Latin with Mark, and he got multiples like the last 3, the most ancient of the first 3 of these translations. And so he shows, how they didn't use part of it, or how they or how there's different terminologies that they chose not to use because they could choose and pick between all these different variables within all these different copies of the text. And Josh, you're saying I've heard some pronounce my name that way. Okay, yeah. Well, sure. Well, Josh is an abbreviation of Joshua, which is Yahshuah, which is Yal Shulam Va in the most primitive, Yal Shulam Va. And Yal Shulam Va actually means the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. Oh, and I'll give you another example to cap on that, because I had a note here and I forgot this one. It was right in front of me. So look at this. So here's the word Israel, of course, would be a corruption as well. The eye is that blind eye again, showing that Israel is blind, or they were blind, certainly in the Old Covenant when they got banished. But the Israel today is a pseudo Israel. It's not Israel. They're Jews, and they're pretending to be Israel, but they never were Israel. They have no heritage link with it. It's all a scam and a sham. So, but here's the original thought now. Let's spell Israel, which in the original then would be ASHARYOOLVAT. Okay, and that then means this. Don't type yet. Let me get this before you type. Oh, okay, I spelled that wrong. Hang on. Royal. EYES with the LYGHT to SCE the SERPENT. You see, this is why, again, I'm pointing out that this is a science, because I can literally do this stuff off the top of my head now, because I'm reading the prime roots. Okay, so when you look at Israel and you see that Israel in the primitive would be Esharei-Ulva. Esharei-Ulva, it sounds primitive, right? Sounds primitive, and it is the way they would have spoke back then, not Israel. That's modern jargon, and it has no bearing on the original. The word Israel is hiding the original, because they don't want us to have original. Because look at Asha, there's the word for word. Well, Ashavat is the word, but Asha is royal eye. So there at the beginning, you see on the final line, the royal eyes, Asha Ray, with the light. The ray is the light. Ul is the owl that can see in the darkness, so it is for vision, to see. And the Vat is the serpent, the same in front of Vatican. You see, the Vatican is the serpent of Cain, the Canaanites, the children of disobedience. And so literally now we can define what Israel actually means. Esharei Ulva means the royal eyes with the light to see the serpent. And interestingly enough, Joshua Yashulimva in the most primitive literally means Yashul, the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. It's not in the linear order. You just changed the three parts of Yashulim Va being the serpent, Yal, that which goes round, Shulin for knowledge, the one knowledge, in fact. So it's the one knowledge of the serpent that goes round. What is serpent? Everything in creation is serpent, from the atom to the sun. The sun was regarded as the cobra. That's why the Pharaoh wore the cobra on top of his head. It means, the cobra means my co-support, my co-bra, as women wear a bra for support. My cobra is my co-support. What? The sun. We can't live without the great logo up in the sky that continually generates its love for us every day without flinching. That's the unending power of the Yahweh and Yahshuah, when he said, all power has been given unto me in the earth and in the cosmos. Well, that's him shining every day as a spirit coming down to us in the great light. He is in all things, everywhere, in every atom. That's why he said, when you don't visit the prisoner, you didn't visit me, because we are him by physical matter, and we are from the Yahweh, the great Father, by the Spirit. You see, so two natures, physical and spirit, and they are one. But Yahshua is the Spirit as well, because he and the Father are one. Because the Father is so great, he's actually beyond the universe, and as it says in one of the scriptures, if he were to come into the universe, that everything would be destroyed, because it says in I think Second Esdras in the Apocrypha that if you took all the stars in the entire universe and brought them together, that Yahweh's power would still be 10,000 times greater than all the stars in this universe combined. It's beyond our comprehension. And so Yahshuah then has to be the active agent because the Father is so great. That's why he says, when you see me, you see the Father. You see, that's what that was all about. And Josh is saying, how did the UN have the authority to give land to the Jews? I think it was actually started with the Belfort Agreement during World War I, after World War I, or it was initiated after World War II. You know, I have to revisit my history now. But so the UN was about initiated at the same time, so it's like they're dovetailing, I think. Well, Gog means the eye, and Demi means oh gee, I was just looking at that word the other day. Let me just open it up. It's a better way to get. I got my Webster's right here from 1828, and I'll tell you real quick here. DELMNOP DELM. Yeah, I was looking that up in my translation the other day. Okay, so demi is a prefix, and it means half. Okay, so so like the word demigod, which is a form of the word demagogue, it means half divine. That's the implication of it. A demagogue. A gog is the word goggle, so it means the eye. Okay, so just like in the Revelations, it talked about Gog and Magog. Well, Gog is the sun, and the mother Gog or Magog then would be the moon, or could just say one is male, one is female. Ma for mother, Magog, and demigod, and Gog and Magog. See, so so anyway, so half. Demi means half, and yeah. Alrighty, so I'm gonna. Oh, and by the way, on that meaning for Israel, Eshareyulva, which is the royal eyes with the light to see the serpent. Now let's see if there was an application somewhere that confirms what I just said. How about when we go back to the wilderness and they were stuck there for 40 years, and then at one point, because of their disobedience, then they were getting stung with scorpions and snakes, bit with snakes, and so Moses, was told to put a serpent up on a cross and go around the camp. And if they could see the serpent, they could be healed. Well, gee, that fits with the meaning of Israel. The royal eyes with the light to see the serpent. We got to see the serpent. That's what we've been talking about now for a couple of years, that you are the serpent. They changed the word serpent. Ninja, is this on topic? Because I was just going to go into stay with the serpent for a minute. Can you wait till or is it relevant to this serpent? Yes, what?
Yes, it's on topic.
Oh, okay. Well, good. If it's on topic, then go ahead. All right.
I forgot that I was on mute and that I could actually speak. Okay. Sorry, the questions are building up in my head. I just want to go back to no, I won't actually. We'll stay with the serpent. When you described that, putting the snake on the cross, and if you could see that, you could be healed, is that where the whole concept of the medical industry comes from, and their symbol with the snake on the cross, and they claim to heal people?
Right, the two snakes are going up. The medical staff, that's called the caduceus, and it is the male female, and the circle at the top with wings is the symbol of the sun, and therefore it's implying alchemy, that the male and female go to ride the staff together, and they go back to the light. So that's what it is. So if you can imagine that the serpents are not crawling up, but they're crawling across as if going down a road, going down the road towards the rising sun. You see, so see it in a three-dimensional format and not just like a staff, you know, but that's basically what that is.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you come on, you know, let me know when, I just want to continue on the serpent here. And so
Yep.
let me do that. And then, you know, if there's a follow-up on anything, then just be glad to hit me up. Let me do this because I was in the, you know, I read yesterday from the original Gospels at chapter 21 in Luke. And I was looking at it again today. And because I actually realized that I was wrong on one point when I was doing the read, because I said that when it said that he had told them a nation will be raised against a nation and a kingdom against a kingdom, um, and I was just saying that naturally that would have been Rome because of the destruction of Rome in 70 A.D. But then I realized that it didn't really fit the setting here, because it was talking about the rebellion, and so I suddenly realized what it was implying, because with this battle against the Father, remember that it is Jerusalem, Yarul Eshalom, it was, because it's no more, was the Father's kingdom. It was his kingdom, and therefore the Pharisees and the Sadducees were interlopers. They took over. They were rebels. They were traitors in that sense, but they were actually not even Israel, because they came out of Babylon and they were following the Babylonian Talmud. So they had sold any birthright, if they ever had a birthright, to this culture that is called Israel, or Esha Re'ulva. And so when we see them going after Yahshuah to kill him, they know he's the heir. They know he's in the royal family, because it was in the temple records, and all that research was done and recorded when he was born, because there was investigations made because of all the miracles. They knew back when he was a teenager and prior that he was the Messiah. They identified with him that way. If you read the Aquarian Gospel, which is a misnomer, it is the original Gospel, and it's the one that I'm telling everyone is the Q source that I've been sharing, and we'll read a little more of it tonight. But don't want to lose my thought here. So he is the royal ruler, and so they're literally going to take down the king, or the Malik, correctly, the royal Malik, which is the royal messenger, and so what the scripture should be saying here in Luke 21:10, it would be more like this. And of course, everybody can replay this. If you don't have your scriptures ready to go or whatever, you can just replay it, check it out later. But so then he told them, he's telling his followers, the 12, right? He's with them, and he now giving them a sign. He just gave them the sign about Barabbas, that when somebody sets themselves up as the Mashiach, the Messiah, with my name being Yahshuah Vorn Ava, which was corrupted into Barabbas, Bar Abba, became Barabbas, Vornava, Barabba, Barnabas. You see how it evolved? And so now he's giving them one more clue. And he says, then he told them, this is when the false nation will rise up against the true nation, which of course is of the spirit, right? The true nation, and a kingdom will be against a kingdom. You see, so he's stating the conflict that was occurring when he was murdered, because it was a power struggle, right? It was a power struggle, but he volunteered to be the sacrifice for all of his people. And so that's basically another key revelatory point right there in Luke 21, another one shows over and over throughout the entire stories, just like the two saviors, Barabbas and Yahshuah, both have the name Yahshuah, and you had a choice between the murderer and the savior. You know, which one did you want? Yeah, I see we're buffering now, Ninja. I'll stand by for a minute. And you let me know when it's good on your end, okay?
Okay, yeah, it's sending no data at the moment, so waiting for it to reconnect.
No data. Let me tell them
No
to stand
data.
by in there.
Okay, it's coming good.
All right. Okay, yeah, looks like it fixed itself now. So, okay, I hope you didn't miss any of that, but I'll just keep moving forward. So I want to show you here how when he was referring to Judas, you see in the corrupt version, I told you yesterday that, and many times in the past, that the serpent was replaced with Satan, because they didn't want us keying in on what who and what the serpent really is, which is the flesh. And so they changed it to Satan. So here in Luke 22:3, it says when they're at the Last Supper, now Satan entered into Judas, the one called the Issachari. It's not Iscariot, it's the Issachari. They were a patriot group, the Issachari. And they don't tell you that either anywhere, do they? Who was numbered with the 12. Okay, so when it said that Satan entered into Judas, it should correctly say, now the serpent took full control over Judas. You see, the serpent, what serpent? What do you mean? The ego, the desire for the wealth, the money that he was going to acquire. 30 pieces of silver could buy you a slave. It was that much money that it could buy you a slave, and then that slave would be yours for life. And so it was a lot of money, but it was the serpent took control of him. Isn't that what happens to us? When food is a problem, or the cigarettes, or swearing, or sexual appetite. Isn't that the serpent trying to run our lives and tell us, feed me now, feed me now? That's what it's saying, right? Whether in drugs, the same thing. I think I'd like to get stoned again and feel good again, and so that's the serpent, you see. And so that's how the switch out occurred. It should be serpent. And so when you read Satan, you can do it yourself and get the picture. You see, just like here now, going further in chapter 22 of Luke, in verse 31, because I just read this today in this particular translation from the oldest source text available, which has really been a gold mine of discovery. But now when Yahshuah, still at the Last Supper, is telling Simon about how he's going to fall, and he says, Shimon, you must see and read it for yourself. And here it says, Satan demanded to sift you like wheat, but what it really should be saying is, Shamun, you must see and read it for yourself. The serpent is demanding to sift you like wheat. Why? How did it happen? Well, because his serpent, when he was being tested, became afraid. His ego and his passion fell into fear. And it was fear of what? Protecting the serpent, right? I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to be nailed to a cross. So he's protecting his serpent. And so that's how they change it from one character type to a different character type that goes bump in the night, flying through the air. Where did he go? Where did he come from? Where is he? Who is he? What? It's like, that's how that's how the psychopaths, the occultic, who are running our world, that hate our guts, following the Babylonian Talmud, removed them out of the picture. People aren't talking about the Jews, or they're not talking about the Babylonian Talmud, or they're not talking about the bankers. They're not talking. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about devils and satans and demons and aliens. Let's not forget the aliens. But when you change the secret vowel of the L into the R, then you get Aryans. So there's your aliens. They're the Aryans. They're the ones who've been running the world from the beginning of recorded history. So anyway, there's some examples of how the serpent is the correct translation. I gave you the evidence of that now, and you can see and read it for yourself. Okay, so have at it, have fun, discovering the code, because there is no way the beast is going to give you a pure version of scriptures, right? They hate Yahweh, they hate the Father, they hate his Son, they hate the light, and they love the darkness, and their Luciferian symbol of the moon, the logo, Lucifer meaning the true cipher, Lucifer, Lucifer means our true protective code, our true protective cipher. It's just a word. It is not a real entity that has a dress and boobs and flies through the air and does damage on the world. They are the Lucifer. It is in the mind. It is like a corporation that once you give it life, it doesn't stop, and it keeps on hurting people throughout its entire time of existence. And so there you go with that. And so Ninja, you said you had a follow up.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to there was another one that I wanted to mention just because it made me think of the start of other words like the demo I can't pronounce things properly. The demagogue and the demigods, going back to that, it made me think of semi as well, because semi means I wouldn't say half, but not all of something. Semi.
Right, semi. Right, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at Josh's statement right there, and he said Soba, half god, created the matter universe that we reside. Now I don't know where he's getting this, but Soba, you see, if you look at the word, remember I said the B is a V, and you have to have an H with an S, and the secret vowel is the L. And so right there in Soba is the word Shulva. You see, it's a corruption of the word for knowledge, like Sophia is a form of that word. And so the half god is Yahshuah in that type of terminology. It's not the most correct terminology, but it is a type. And okay, so hold that thought, Josh, because I want Ninja to finish. I just wanted to interject that real quick, okay, to show how they change the stories by changing the names and the words and narratives, and and everything goes bump in the night. And like Norse mythology, and Egyptian mythology, all the same mythology, same in Greece, Rome, all the same story under the cloud of different names. Go ahead, Ninja. What?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that everything that I'm saying, thank you for bearing with me while we ramp up these programs again, because I really need the revision, especially with the way my mind is right now with stress of last year. I'm sure everyone can relate to that, and what they're putting in the air and the frequencies around us. I'm not thinking properly, and I
having
need this. Yeah.
Not to mention having a cartel of psychopathic murderers that want to kill you,
Yes.
right? And inject you with your poison. Sure.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Sure.
Yeah, it's a wonderful world we live in. Yeah, and I just wanted to mention how I'm seeing things again, how everything goes full circle in a complete, not semi, not demi, not half. Everything goes full.
I used to drive a semi, by the way.
I know.
It was called tractor trailer, 2 parts.
Yeah, everything goes full circle when you get on a roll with your Yahshuah's desert, and I see things again, and it's wonderful. Talking about because one of the words I wanted to bring up was Bible, and I needed revision on that because I know what that is. I know it's. I'm just getting to it in your dictionary. I know it's Babel, and it's also the scripture, which is the shulfar. Am I right? I'm trying to remember these things.
Right. Shulfar has multiple meanings. One is book.
Yeah.
And one is ram's horn. One is a scribe. I'm a shulfar.
Exactly.
And it also literally means
Shulam Vashe, Yahshuah.
Right. And it also means literally the knowledge of fire.
Yeah.
Shul, the sound from afar. All those things.
Yeah.
One word.
Yeah, it all comes back round. It all comes back round. All these things. That's why when you this is what you mean when you say it's all fluid. And
Well, and it's,
yeah,
and you can imagine how hard it would be to translate
yes,
then the exact meaning what somebody is trying to say when one word has 10 possible variables.
yes,
Yeah, that's why
yes.
Yahshua, when he's speaking, they're still wondering, what did he say? I don't know, I don't get what he meant. And then he has to explain privately to his followers, what he really meant. And so it was a work. You really have to be focused. You have to be connected. You can't be passive in this type of situation in life. It's an aggressive move. That's where, like he says, I'm a rewarder of those who diligently seek me. And so those who diligently seek, then they have the light bulb go on, not off.
Thank you so much. You just answered, or you just confirmed the next thing that I wanted to say, and then I'll let you move on.
We're going to a break.
Okay. Yeah, I have been feeling like I've been playing catch up since I discovered your original YouTube channel, the Forbidden History series. Because
Or what? I'm sorry, I got distracted. What?
I feel like I've been playing catch up. Like I came in very late in life. I came to know Yahshua only just over 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. Um, and I feel
Well,
like
think
I'm
how late
playing.
the guy on the think about how late the guy on the cross next to him felt.
Yes,
Right?
that's reassuring. Um, yeah, so I just want to state something because of what you just said. I If a lot of people out there that hear this start to worry that it's too late and start to feel dismayed that they're not going to learn all of this in time. That's why Desert's here. I felt the same way. I still feel the same way, but I keep reminding myself now that you don't have to know, you don't have to be fluent in all of this. That's why Desert's here. It's about the connection and the energy that these translations or the
And
transliteration.
and and what
Yeah,
knowledge does is it changes your attitude.
exactly,
You
exactly. It's
see?
all about
Yeah.
just uh,
It, it
immersing
defies the
yourself in it
word.
and connecting with the Father.
Right.
Yeah,
It defies the word believe, which means I think so, or it literally means to give little credit to something in the Latin. Because when you know something, you know that you know that you know, and therefore you know what you got to do, and it's just a matter of pulling your bootstraps up and getting it done with your personal walk. Because people, the serpent wants to keep us down. The serpent wants us to be lazy. The serpent wants to distract our attention with diversions, and so that's the struggle. It's within. It's without,
yeah,
and it's within, both places.
yeah. Okay, and that would do. Yeah, I've got all
All
of
right.
that out of my system for now, Desert. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You can give them that